Good afternoon. This is our first take of myself and Andre from Bravey Media's podcast. We've been talking about doing it for a while, so we're doing it now. Our first guest today is, due to coronavirus, is Max Lally. So we've Max with us to ask him a couple of questions about what he's at, about jiu-jitsu, and for people that don't know, Max is my son. So you're very welcome on our, we've no name for it yet, Andre, so it's the no name podcast at the moment, but we'll put our heads together over the next few weeks and come up with a name for it. So good afternoon, Max. Good to have you on the podcast.
I'm pleasure to be here. Not that I really had a choice.
Yeah. So, I know most of the answers to these questions, but not many people do. So, you started martial arts. Max is a no-gi grappler, martial artist. He boxes, he grapples, he wrestles. So, your martial arts journey, when did it start?
It started grappling in jiu-jitsu down in, I don't know, Checkma, Ashbourne. It was originally called, it's Gracie Barra Ashbourne now, but it was originally Checkma. And I started there for fun, going down twice, 3 times a week. And then eventually that progressed because I got hungry to compete and to pursue the sport legitimately, and that's when I went to SBG Ireland. I moved there when I was 10, 11 say. Haven't looked back since.
So you moved to SBG Ireland at 10 or 11?
Yeah, don't know what exact age, but...
Yeah. And your initial thoughts on joining SBG Ireland then? So I think that was pre-Conor UFC Sweden, was it?
Wasn't... Actually, when I joined, I didn't know who Conor was.
Yeah,
I didn't even know who Conor was when I joined it.
I think that was Owen Roddy was your coach then.
Owen was... I would call Owen like my first coach that I actually had like a kind of relationship with. So Owen was like me coach for, I think up until I got me green belt, and I think that's when I like moved up to kind of adults and I stopped kind of training with Owen. I'm obviously training with him now, of course, but Owen would definitely be like one of my coaches that I definitely consider I had like a relationship with. And then I continued to progress up to the kind of higher classes, and from there that's when I think it goes around. Realistically, I was shit at jiu-jitsu till I was about 12, 13. And then up until then I didn't start to get real good, but I started to get better. And seeing myself get better, that's how I started to progress like very quickly.
And going back to when you started initially in them early years in jiu-jitsu, so you went on Monday, Wednesday and Friday.
Yeah.
Them kids classes, what were your favourite bits of them kids classes back then? What?
Well, I think especially at that age, it's all more so having a buzz, if that makes sense. Now, of course, if you're a parent out there and you want to get your son or daughter, whoever it is, into jiu-jitsu, it's very important that they have some sort of interest. They don't have to be addicted, they don't have to be obsessed. Because at the start, realistically, I wasn't obsessed. I just liked it. I thought it was fun. I liked the idea of going to class and arm barring and choking people out. That was the whole idea. It was fun. I really liked jiu-jitsu because as a kid I really liked WWE. So that's why I had the idea in my head that, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday I get to go up and armbar a few kids. So that's what's fun. But then what happens is, as obviously the years of you doing it go on, it actually turns into a passion and more so a slight obsession. And that's when you really start to skyrocket from there.
And you're in that kids program and doing a few smaller competitions in Ireland. And then I remember, I think it was Wayne Fagan told me to bring you to the British Nationals in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And I brought you, that was Neil Simpkins' competition.
Yeah.
And I brought you there, and that was one of the biggest kids competitions in Europe at the time. What were your initial what did you think of being brought there, and how did you feel competing in that competition with all them kids?
Well, me, that was, I always in my head, I always had the idea of, I never had any sort of performance anxiety whatsoever. I'd more so be excited, because I didn't have the intentions of going out to hurt people, but I had the intentions of going out to try, just embarrass them. That was the kind of mindset I had from when I was 12, 13. So once I kind of had that mindset, the rest of it was you either way, you win or lose, you're gonna carry yourself the same way. So the result doesn't really matter. I find that it's very important that whatever way you carry yourself is more important than any medal, because in my opinion, you can't put a medal in the microwave. Put a medal in the microwave, you can't eat it, It's all about money, so medals don't mean fucking anything.
Okay. But did you have fun at it?
I had definitely, I went over with Sean Kennett, the best time, as a kid. Definitely a memory that will stick with me. Over the time, I think I had 5 fights and I lost in the final to Daniel Lazard. I still remember him because I still haven't got to fight him again. So,
Okay.
I'll do an Ogie with him again.
And then after that, we went to the UK Youth Performance, had a squad which trained all the best kids from all over the United Kingdom. And that was once a month in Birmingham. And I brought you over to that. We went over to that. Neil was very welcome and invited us in. And what did you think of training with all them best kids?
The first time I went there, I got smashed up by some bird. Any Americans or foreign people watching this, a bird is a girl. I got battered by her and I didn't want to go back. But then, of course, I wasn't going to let my ego get the better of me. So I kept going. But I think them squad sessions definitely improved my jiu-jitsu by streets. Of course it was in the gi and all, but I ended up getting to go to the Pan Americans over in America. Got a bronze medal in that. I lost to two really good competitors. Well, that finished ahead of me. I definitely think that if you're a jiu-jitsu competitor and you like doing jiu-jitsu, there is no harm in booking a flight over. You get over in the morning, back in the evening to England to compete in a competition. I'd definitely suggest it, because it just gives you, it makes you more, in my opinion, more of a versatile kind of jiu-jitsu fighter, which means you're able to fight a lot more frequently, makes you more confident in yourself when you compete and you fight. Also, as well as that, I think that people that have performance anxiety, that's a very temporary thing. If you continue just to compete as much as often and make competing kind of regular, try make it maybe once every 3 weeks if possible, that performance anxiety turns into excitement, and then that excitement makes you actually want to compete as much as possible.
Okay. You mentioned there that you went to the kids Pan Ams in Los Angeles with that UK youth squad. Now, you were 12 at the time, I think your ma brought you.
Was I 12 or 13?
12.
13.
Teenagers aren't allowed to compete, are they?
No, it's 15.
Oh, 13. Okay, you were 13. That's the largest kids competition in the world, the Pan Am Kids. Like, what were your initial experiences walking into the pyramid, the Waller Pyramid, they hold the world Sergei, and it's a big venue.
Well,
what are your initial experience, and what did you gain from the overall experience of the best kids in the world competing against them?
my initial reaction was, well, can't get any bigger than this. So I'm at the biggest competition there is possible. So that definitely boosted me confidence. At the time was a bit of a fairy walking around. I wasn't really like mad in. It didn't faze me. I went there, I was like, well, I'm here. All I need to do is get a medal. It's just a complete different like mindset that I had back then than I do now. But that definitely did cost me that gold medal. Just from being unexperienced and a little immature in like those type of situations. But that benefited me in other competitions because later that year I won a double gold at the Europeans, and then the year following I won another double gold. But the reason I think I did so well in that 2017-2018 period competing at green belt was because every time before I stepped on the mat, it's like, come on, you've competed at the Kid Pan Ams. It's the biggest competition there is. There's no other competition in the world, kids competition in the world, that's bigger than that competition. So that's why I was very calm and not nervous but excited to fight more so than anything.
Right. I remember, I think I was up at 3 in the morning on Flow Grappling watching your matches were live, so I was watching your matches on that, so I remember that was kind of exciting at the time.
Yeah.
So then you came back from that, and I see a lot of kids now, it's amazing the few years that have changed. Like, you probably trained jiu-jitsu like 3 times a week back then, maybe 4, maybe 3 times a week, and there were classes, so it wasn't like, I remember
I was doing about 4 hours jiu-jitsu a week back
I remember
then.
you were 13, but there was one of the guys in your bracket, 2 guys actually in your bracket, and their ears were mangled.
Don't have ears like this now though.
Cauliflowers. They were 13 years of age, and I was going, uh-oh, he's got an ear for both. I remember checking that out. That was good. Then you came back, and as you said, you got double gold. So now, like, I'm from the Kurt Pellegrino scale of thought, whereas jiu-jitsu is a match. It's not a fight.
Yeah.
it's a match. So now, then after all that, we went to New Jersey with you. We family over there.
Yeah.
So we brought you over to New Jersey, and we introduced you into Kurt Pellegrino from the holiday home we stay in. Kurt Pellegrino's gym is literally a 5-minute walk around the corner.
5-minute walk, 2 minutes cycle.
So how did going to New Jersey change you kind of in your ideas with regard to grappling, and how was that a change on
I think Kurt showed me that I consider aggressive style, if that makes sense. Before that, I was a little pull guard loser that like didn't know how to wrestle. And when I was over there, Kurt called me chud and string bean because shite wrestling. And I was at 12 and 13. I wouldn't say I was bad, but like I know for a fact, like any other 13-year-old now would have bleeding blitzed me. But Kurt battered me loads when I was younger. You get Francis and Alex that battered me as well. More or less that holiday was just me getting smoked. That's what it was. Like I was like tiny. I was like, I thought I was probably floating around 55 kilo. But I got battered, and then as soon as I got home, saved up a bit of money, bought myself a pair of wrestling boots, and then obviously started wrestling with Sergei. Wrestling with Sergei now nearly 3 years.
And getting on to wrestling with Sergei. So you used to wrestle with Sergei on a Wednesday in SBG headquarters, and then you'd wrestle with Sergei on a Saturday. He used to do some sessions on a Saturday on the open mat, wrestling. So how do you feel Sergei's influence and his wrestling style and his coaching style has made your game better?
Well, definitely, I remember the first time I did Sergei's wrestling class, I went in, I didn't have wrestling boots, pair of bottoms on me, and after the warm-up, I thought I was going to collapse. But I just kept remembering what Kurt was saying. He's like, you can't call yourself a fighter if you don't wrestle, as he always said. And that just got that bit of drive. And then obviously when I got into it, I say I was terrible at wrestling until maybe start the last year. That's when I started getting good from wrestling all the time. I think wrestling for any sport, like not just jiu-jitsu, but I think wrestling just as a sport just gives you a different type of cardio. Like that moving around, that consistent scrambling, like on your feet, head, everything. It's like your whole body's moving, and like you do a solid 5-minute round with someone wrestling, your whole body is dead. So I think wrestling teaches you, gets your cardio phenomenally good. I think any jiu-jitsu fighter I've come across, I've never once taken a deep breath in a jiu-jitsu match because of wrestling, just from consistently having a go at people. Have that mindset in jiu-jitsu as well, that it's like, some people might be technically superior, but like, you're not gonna outwork me at all. I'm gonna be working 10 times harder than you at all times. I'm gonna pick up like a pace that you can't keep up. That's the whole kind of wrestlers kind of mentality, and I think that not many people can do it. Everyone's like, I need to wrestle, nobody wrestles because it's like, realistically, they're pussies, because they can't. They do one hard session and then they're like, oh, I'm sore. You're supposed to be sore after a session, you know? If you're not sore after a session, you haven't trained hard enough. That's why even when you're sore, it's like them days where you're sore, not in the mood, those are the days you really have to train, you know?
And when we were in America that year, you competed at the Naga Battle of the Beach. And I remember Kurt said to you, and was saying to me as well, that I needed to bring you to Henzo's and Marcelo's. But Marcelo's was more gi based, and at the time you were focusing on no gi. So we went, that's where we came across Gary Tolan's in Brunswick Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
And what I like about coaches sometimes is when they tell you to go to other places, that they say things like, bring them there because they're animals.
Yeah.
And we went to Gary Tolan's gym at Brunswick Jiu-Jitsu. How did you find with Chris, all the guys are all cool, they're very friendly, Arbaz, and how did you find going to Gary's gym? What did you think of Gary's Brunswick Jiu-Jitsu?
Well, I got smoked there as well. I got battered there as well. And my first thought initially was, well, if Gary Town's gym is this good, what's Henzo's like? Because like I just felt like fresh me. At the time I was a bit bigger. I think I was chunky at about 64 with a lot of acai and burgers into me. I remember doing around with Gary, and it was almost doing around with Gary. It was like he was toying with me. It was like actually playing with me. I was like trying to not take his head off, but I was trying to beat him, trying to take him down, and it was like he just played with me, you know. And that's that's when I really started saying like the different, where like in jiu-jitsu now it's like you come across someone, it's like God, they just want to go hard all the, and I was looking at their types of training, and it's like they don't train hard all the time, but they're always there drilling, they're always there doing they're doing adequate training, they're doing like proper training, they're getting proper hours in.
Yeah.
It's like they're probably drilling 2-3 hours a day, and then maybe training hard for maybe like doing a few rounds here and there, but they're not absolutely taking the heads off each other every day. So once I seen that, I was like, okay, I'll think it's best if I go with the Henzo's, give Henzo's a go. So went to Henzo's, and you witnessed that fucking like monstrosity, that like absolute, I don't even know what to call it.
Well,
Murder.
So that summer,
Yeah.
we came home and we left Max behind us with family for a couple of weeks. So to explain Max's first time into Henzo's as what should happen on a jiu-jitsu mat, he got absolutely raped. And because I do a bit of jiu-jitsu, I'm looking at him getting raped. And this is what makes a good athlete from a pussy. When you've got absolutely murked and raped, and he gets changed, and we walked back to the apartment where he was staying at, and it was probably a half an hour walk. We got something to eat, but a half an hour walk. Max never spoke the whole way home. Silence. Absolute silence. Because I think Max is going to go in there. He thought himself, I'm going to submit some of these shitbags. And he got absolutely murdered. And I love that, because you need to be humbled. You need it to get better. So I said to him, what are you going to do the next day? And he says, I'm going back there tomorrow. So then going back there and getting back into it, we had left. What were your initial experiences then?
Going back.
Yeah, the next day when you went, you were going back. You paid for the month, I think.
Yeah, pay for the month. This is prime time. This is the ADCC. This is like in the middle of ADCC camp.
Yeah.
So this is where I learned all of the like good details. This taught me though, more so anything. It just taught me to not be like a little pussy.
So who were your drilling partners then? Who were you training with? An initial experience or thoughts on John Donahoe?
So John Donahoe is a very, very odd but real character, if that makes sense. It's like he's just straight, honest, but like brutal honesty. Like I can give you a few examples. Like I remember we were drilling like single leg X, what they call it ashigarami, and I hear John shout, I don't know who, but he shouts, a donkey that got shot with a stun gun could do a better ashigarami than that. And it's like, it's that type of person he is, but it's like, It's like he's good at, he's a genius at jiu-jitsu, so it's like he is like the Professor X of all of them savages on that mat. They all obey him, like. So it's like I trained with loads of like different people. Main training partner was Robert Deagle. He's a legit brown belt under John. How I met Rob was I was getting smashed by everyone on my like third day, and I seen him sitting in a corner, and I was like, right, you're getting it, I'm gonna kill you. And I went over to him, and he embarrassed me. He was like 65 kilo, 145 pounds. I was like 70, and he embarrassed me, just smashed me, like smoked me. And from me getting smoked by him, I learned so much off him. I learned lots of good details, and while I was over there for the entire month, no word of a lie, I did not submit one person. Not one person did I submit that entire month I was over there. I didn't submit anyone. Now I wasn't picking. I was going for people that looked alright, like, you know. But I think I didn't submit one person when I was over there. So I got back. Went into transition year TY. November, I was straight back over there then for another month. I think
a month or 6 weeks?
6 weeks.
6 weeks. And what was that second trip back and that second experience like?
Well, since I've drilled all the techniques that I learned over there, I was actually submitting people. I submitted a few people on my first day. A few people recognised me again straight away. I had bleached my hair before I went over there, so I kind of looked like a Gordon Ryan fanboy, even though that was not the look I was going for whatsoever. But here's a funny story. While I was over there with my mates, I dyed my hair silver, like for the laugh, because I was kind of getting sick of the blonde. And I go into Henzo's the next day, and guess who else has bleeding silver hair? Gordon fucking Ryan. So he's looking at me while I'm walking on the mat. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, this fella probably thinks I'm a little nerd or something. Like, probably thinks I'm mad into him, you know.
and Max he's in the lucky position that his cousin has an apartment right at the Flatiron building. If you know New York, the Flatiron building is an iconic building at Madison Square Park. So his cousin owns an apartment there. So Max is lucky to be able to shoot over and stay there within walking distance of Henzo's.
Yeah.
But and then how did you feel with them second 6 weeks in Henzo's? How did you feel that brought you on? Or
that brought me on by massive amounts, because I knew how to train 6 days a week with eating the right food and not burning myself out completely. So what was happening before I went over there was I was training hard as I can Monday to Wednesday. Come Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm ripped, and I'm like, I don't even want to train because I'm so tired. And it's like, people say, oh, train hard you can. It's like there's days you should be selecting. You should be selecting Mondays a hard session. I'll do Wednesdays a hard session. You should be doing 3-4 hard sessions a week. Then the rest should be mainly drilling, floating around. More so movement sessions to get yourself loose and get yourself like prepared more so. Because if you think of a hard session like banging, like rock and roll, you're like slowly like eroding yourself away. So it's like, I'm only gonna be able to train for so much in a week before I'm like, oh, here, I can't train properly again. So when I was over there, I was training hard Monday, I was training hard Wednesday, and training hard on a Friday, and then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday I drill with Robert for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And from that I came back, and I think I came back like a different person, like a different jiu-jitsu fighter altogether. So
jiu-jitsu grappler.
yeah. Whatever.
And then you came back for the Submission Samurai show.
Yeah.
You were drawing a tough old bracket for that. What did you think of that?
What did I think of that? So when I originally went into Sub Samurai, I can guarantee you in everyone's eyes, yeah, that nobody thought I was gonna win that. Nobody. I know that for a fact. I knew walking in there I was the biggest underdog of every single one of them. And in my head, I think me and me coaches and you were the only people that thought I'd have it, like I'd win that.
So Submission Samurai,
Yeah.
you felt like you were an underdog.
Oh, big underdog.
Okay.
Well, realistically, nobody had seen me compete at a stage like that.
Yeah.
So it was all hearsay. It's all like, oh, this kid's... It's like if somebody was telling me, oh, this guy's real good, he's this, he's that, I'm like, well, let me see first. So I think that opportunity on Samurai was like the first big opportunity that I got.
Okay.
To compete and showcase like my skills.
Okay. And going forward, like we're in the coronavirus now at this stage, and it's kind of things have been, now you've been training away, you're doing Sergei's Zoom classes and you've been training away. What are your goals going forward?
Well, I think COVID will definitely my competing season in some sort. If COVID didn't happen, I'd actually be in America right now in Enzo's training away. But COVID obviously has prevented that, unfortunately. But then again, it's like, I think that COVID will really affect people that can train. I think jiu-jitsu people have the strongest immune system in the world from training all the time, you know. I know you've said that.
We spoke about that at the start, yeah, with all the bacteria and stuff. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up at that. Would you like to thank any sponsors or mention any of your sponsors that look after you?
Thanks to One Fit, Kerrigan's, One Hit Management, MSL Skoda for all the kind of stuff they do with me, sending me out gear, supporting me through competition seasons, etc.
And your Instagram name?
Everyone has me Instagram, Max Lally JJ, Max Lally Jiu Jitsu.
Okay. That's it for this afternoon. Give Bravey Media a follow on Instagram, and Andre, and my name is John Lally, and that is it.
Been a pleasure.
Good luck.